Hi, everyone. Welcome to a D and a Don.
I'm Patrick. I'm the D.
You nearly stuffed that up. I'm Dave. I'm the Don. Interesting week in footy. No,
No,
this is
not
what
really.
I'm affectionately calling the banana peel round.
So,
Yeah, look, I don't know about you, but I don't remember a season where there's basically nine teams who are playing for something, nine teams who are playing for nothing.
yeah,
And there's one very good team that's going to be very annoyed
yeah,
at the end of the season because they're so much better than where your team and my team are at
yeah.
right now. So this week, first time I ever remember, top nine teams,
Yep.
bottom nine teams. So you'd expect some drubbings, and that's pretty much what we've
That's what's
had.
happened.
Yeah. A very
Yeah.
interesting game happening right now between Sydney and Freo,
Agreed.
and that looks like they might be the only or first team this weekend to slip on the banana peel.
Yeah.
Sydney, I think, are a couple of goals up at the moment, and that would really hurt Freo. That would put them in the
The bottom eight.
no, 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 no,
More
no,
than that.
no. Mate, it's pretty simple. There's nine teams that can make the eight, and one of them's going to get squeezed out.
Yeah.
So a GWS or a Freo or anyone really,
Gold
like
Coast.
everyone,
Yeah.
everyone except for the top two
Yeah.
are within one game of slipping out.
Yeah.
So Hawthorn, Dogs, all of them.
Yeah.
And then later today, you've got a little chance. Do you know, until I did this every Sunday afternoon with you, I never realised how many Melbourne games start at 3 o'clock on a Sunday.
It does my head in, Dave, to be honest.
I've got to ask, if we're here doing this, how do you speak so knowledgeably about Melbourne? You're just making stuff
I'm
up.
just making stuff up, Dave.
Fair enough.
But let's talk about some of the matches, the banana peel round. Magpies versus Carlton.
Tough.
It's pretty much what we expected.
No news there.
No.
Collingwood are great.
Yes.
Carlton are awful.
Yes.
Everyone's talking about whether or not Voss will survive. I was saying to you just before, I reckon if it wasn't for that North game, you could kind of live with as a Carlton supporter. All right, we lost to Port in Port, and we got smashed by Collingwood, which, frankly, a lot of good teams,
lot of teams
and
do.
a lot of average teams
Yes.
do as well.
Agreed.
So, would you keep Voss next year?
Jeez. I don't think it's Voss, to be honest. I think there's
List
to
or
it.
players?
I think List, to
Okay.
be honest. I'll talk a bit about it as well, a bit later on about
Well, let's sort
the
it out.
supporting group.
Oh, as in coaches.
As coaches.
So you are talking coaches.
Yeah, well, I'm not just talking about the head coach.
I just don't understand how, if I was going to say there was one trend in footy that all the good teams have done in the last 3 or 4 years, I'd say load up on 2, 3, 4 minimum great small forwards.
Yeah.
And Carlton go, no, we'll go the complete opposite way.
Yeah.
Is Daniel Motlop the only small forward? I would like to watch a Carlton game without someone slowing down him, not running to pick up his guy, leading to a goal, because that's happened 2 weeks in a row. And I'm starting to feel that guy's the biggest whipping boy in the game.
He's definitely up there.
Yeah,
He
but
used
there's,
to be Zach Williams,
Oh,
to be honest.
mate.
But it's actually
he
shown a little.
not hard to look good in Carlton these days. Look, I'm trying not to load up on the Schadenfreude, but I was thinking before when it first happened, because I watched the North Melbourne game live,
Uh-huh.
and people started to ask, "Well, is that it for Voss?" And I thought, "Oh, a bit early," but my response was, and I thought it was quite mild, just sack all the assistant coaches and keep Voss. And then I look into it, and his assistant coaches, the guys like Hamill and all those guys,
Yeah.
they've been with him for like 7 years or something, somewhere between 6 and 8. I
Yeah.
can't remember. I'm
Yeah.
bad with numbers. So does Voss suddenly become a better coach if you just surround him with a whole bunch of people who've got IP from other clubs, but he doesn't even know who they are?
Look, it's a good point, and I guess what I was talking about, where you've got teams that are successful, and you hear the word culture, it gets bandied around a lot, right?
I think I threw it at you earlier.
You did, you threw it at me, of course. But let's, for example, look at Collingwood, for example. So Collingwood have actually got 4 development coaches, right? They've got a head of development, Josh Fraser, Neville Jetta, Andy Ottens, and Brendan McCartney, who's part-time as
Neville
well.
Jetta. Did he play for you?
He did?
Right.
Absolutely. You compare that
Yeah.
to...
And
to-
McCartney, by the way, was instrumental at the And I think he's done amazing things at Collingwood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you compare that to Melbourne, for example, right, where you've got Mark Williams, who is our head of development coach. He's been there for 5 years, and you're kind of thinking to yourself,
I thought he was your forward line coach.
well, no, he's actually our development coach, right? But we've got one. We've got one compared to Collingwood's four.
Development coach. Who is it?
Well, for us, as I said, Mark Williams, right? But you look at the successes of Collingwood, for example. When you're talking about development coach, what do? They actually bring, these players who played a VFL level up to AFL standard, right? So you look at the Ned Longs, you look at the Sullivans, you look at Will Parker's, Steele. These are the new crop that are coming, and they're playing really well for Collingwood. And then you look at the likes of Perryman and Houston and Membry, because the development coach, as an assistant, also helps with the players that get traded. So they actually integrate with the team.
All right, I'm going to give you the quantity versus quality argument.
Yeah.
You've got one development coach.
Yes.
And that guy coached an AFL premiership.
Yes.
Do you want to hear our two development coaches? We've
You've got
more.
two.
We've got twice as many.
Yeah.
I'm not sure many people are knocking on the door for Travis Cloke and Michael Hurley. Now, Michael Hurley, champion of the club at our worst time ever. I mean, I'll use champion of the club. Travis Cloke, mentally fragile.
Yeah.
Didn't he used to listen to sounds of the crowd as he was practicing his goal kicking? They're our two development coaches against the four names that you just read out. That's killing me. What? Where's the soft? What's happening with the soft cap? I thought they were supposed to stop this happening.
Yeah.
Eddie, deep pockets. No.
No, he's gone. But you look at Melbourne, for example, and what they've done this year with their younger players. So you've got Taj Waden, you've got Bailey Laurie. So they've been playing really well at VFL level. But when they've had to step up to AFL, they just haven't, performed as well as we hoped, right? And then you've got, Andy Muniz Wakefield, and you've got Kynan Brown, Throstrop. They're just not stepping up. AFL level.
You think if they were at Collingwood, they probably would?
I think that there needs to be more support for Mark Williams. And I think Melbourne need to, when it comes down to it, at the end of the season, really have a think about how we're going to structure that development role to help Mark Williams.
Yeah, you tend to think it's just what happens on the park on Saturday, but there's so much, all that development. And I mean, got to talk about it this week with Essendon's injuries. We're supposed to be having 5 or 6 guys coming back. We do a training session in the middle of a bye week, and 3 guys aren't playing anymore for the week and for the year. And you're like, is this bad luck? Have we spent millions of dollars on the hangar, a new training facility that injures players and therefore makes your club worse? Are our development guys any good? I mean, again, I hate to use the knocking on the door metaphor, but Todd Goldstein's already got the job as Essendon's ruck coach while he's rucking. Now, is that the best guy in the comp? Because it's his first job, right? I mean, this is not a guy who's done, an apprenticeship under this. I mean, his whole resume is you were a good ruckman. Now, maybe for ruck you can go, but Travis Cloke, Michael Hurley, Jan Siracusa, I think is the only one who anyone would be mentioning, in the who's replacing Michael Voss, and I don't think seriously. No. And that's an interesting one too.
No.
Now that we have our first coach on the edge, have you noticed Longmire and Simpson popping up on the media shows a little bit? Mate, that green room is getting excited.
Absolutely.
I think they would love a crack at Carlton. But it makes you wonder about the other side of that dating equation. Do Carlton want to go for the premiership? Did they learn their lessons with Malthouse and Pagan, really? Or are they still looking for the Who's the next Clarkson? Or is it you've coached a premiership, we've got a big checkbook,
Yeah.
come on in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you reckon?
I think personally, I think it's, as I said before, it's not about necessarily the head coach, it's about the team around them.
So let's say you're in charge of Carlton next year.
Yeah.
Who's your coach? And you've got a carte blanche to do whatever you want. Is your coach Voss, Longmire, or Simpson?
For me, it's Longmire.
So you are changing. So you're saying, I'll
look,
stay the
if I have a
course,
chance-
probably not the coach, but if it was you.
No, but if I had a chance, because like Longmire really brings a team around him, right? So you think what he's done.
I think Simpson would too.
Simpson would too. I agree.
So that pecking order, Voss would be third.
Yeah.
Well, then he's in trouble. Because there's two premiership coaches sitting in the green room.
Yeah. But as I said, it's about the team, right? And like, for example, you look at the high performance manager, right? The number one high performance manager is Darren Burgess, right?
Collingwood?
No, he's in Adelaide.
Right.
Funny enough,
And they're coming good.
Exactly. He actually was the high performance manager for Melbourne during their 2021 premiership, right? And I remember when I heard that Darren Burgess was moving across to Adelaide, I just went, no. Because I know how important when it comes to, getting players up, getting them performing, having a team run over another team. Like Melbourne were doing that in 2021. It was just standard. And that was, really, you've got to ask yourself, how much of an influence did Darren Burgess have on that team?
And he's having on Adelaide.
And he's having on Adelaide right now.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, just give you some stats here, right? So, in terms of Adelaide, like 90% of their players are actually achieving personal bests in the 1 kilometre time trial, right? That was in 2023 and it's going up, right?
Yeah, I tell you what would be a nice metric to have. How many players at your club or at any club are having the best season they've ever had?
Yeah.
Or in the top 2 or 3 best seasons? Because I reckon if you went through Adelaide's list, they've got a lot of guys who are having their best season.
Agreed.
Listen, at the risk of... Are we frozen?
No.
All right. At the risk of jumping around a little bit, the one guy at Adelaide who's not having his best season ever is Rankin.
Yeah.
All right, Dawson, all those guys, I don't know whether Dawson's having his best season. He's had some pretty good ones. But, Phil Thorpe and a lot of those guys, Keys, mind you, a lot of them have been good for a while.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are having their best season. When I was thinking about Rankin, it got me wondering, because this time a year ago, I reckon he was one of the hottest players in the AFL. Right? He was kicking goals from everywhere. Oh, we can put him through the midfield. Look at this amazing toy that we've got that Gold Coast, got robbed of, that we stole from Gold Coast. And I think if his manager, or if the timing of his contract had been then, they would have backed up the truck, right? Which they probably did to get him anyway, but not
as much.
The Cozzy truck.
Not the Cozzy truck, no.
And my question to you is,
truck.
There's never been a truck like the Cozzy truck. Let's be honest. Let's be
specific. Is that a semi-trailer?
Is that 9 years, $14 million?
Yes. 9 years.
Okay. Because we've kind of talked about this before, and you either just sort of fall behind it or you don't want to talk about it. But I want an answer here, because I've got a lot of mates who are like, it's a lot of money for a half-forward flanker. And I know you've got midfield dreams and all that, right? But I just think Cozzy had the best trade season year that you could ever have. Even when he got suspended, because you guys looked so bad without him, and then he comes back and suddenly your whole forward line and whole team is different. I mean, without him, you're not getting within cooey of Collingwood at the MCG and a bunch of other games, right? In fact, I've got him like in my top 10 just players in the comp. That's how hot he is right now.
Yeah.
But I would argue, due to the nature of the half-forward flank, this time a year from now, or 2 years, or any up to 9 years, that deal might be looking a little regrettable.
Look,
It's so long.
yeah, it is a long time, right? He's going to be what, 34 when he finishes?
So he signed up till 2034.
Yeah. Okay.
Oliver's signed up till 2030.
Yeah.
And I would say that's looking bad.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
So let's go back to the
And
Cosy.
the Petrarca on 2029, you're not dodging that either. Because I heard, I was driving here today, and I heard someone say, Melbourne, who has a midfield that would be the envy of many other clubs. And I thought, I don't think so. I don't think so. Which brings me to this question. If for the rest of their careers, you could swap right now your midfield and my midfield, who's are you taking? So you got Viney, Petrarca, Oliver, Gawn. Gawn's 2 years, Viney's 2.
Yeah.
And then you've got Langford and a few others coming through.
Yeah.
We don't know whether Windsor and those guys can play midfield. Handy pieces, but
more
let's
on the
just talk
side.
about those guys
Yeah.
versus
Merritt.
hopefully Draper, if he stays, or Vicentini or Brian.
Vicentini.
He's played one game in the ruck, so I don't want to get too excited. And he's 19 and he's like 3 years off it, but he's going to be playing a long time after Maxi's in the retirement home. And then you've got Durham, Calthorpe, Caldwell, I always call him that. And who else is coming through in the midfield? No one really. Who are you taking?
I still take Demons. I just think Petrarca's still, if like right now, I'd take the Demons. I think that there's a lot more upside with Petrarca, Viney, and even Oliver. I know you frowned upon Oliver, but recently his efficiency has gone right up, and he's actually done quite well for us over the last five. Well,
Is
quite
he in
well.
the
He's done
top
well for
50
us.
midfielders in the comp?
50?
Yeah.
I would think so. Yeah, I would think so.
I would challenge you to do the numbers.
No, I'm not going to
So I did 20. I sat down and did 20, and I didn't have Petrarca or Oliver or Viney.
Petrarca.
Not even close.
Wow.
My bottom
Wow.
midfielder, just to check, was Brayshaw and Sarong.
Wow.
There's a lot of midfielders.
There's a lot of midfielders.
There's a lot of good midfielders, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, he's that far off what Petrarca was a few years ago.
Yeah.
Like I look at Heaney now. Would you take Heaney or Petrarca? I wouldn't think for a second. And when you start to think about it like that, you go, is this a guy we've got for another 5 years who's already past his best?
Oh, look, is Petrarca past his best? I mean, that's a fair call. But
He's a long way off it currently.
Well, yeah, but he's also still in our best every time. If you have a look at his numbers, throughout the year, he really is like, he's getting
I'm going to do that.
to it. Next
I don't
time.
have a lot going on. I'm going to
Okay. Let's save that one. Yeah. But look, as I said before, when Melbourne's deficiency at the moment is not the Petrarcas, it's not the Olivers, it's the others that need to step up, right? It's the Billings, it's the Wakefields,
You're
it's
sacking
the
Billings at the end of
Browns.
this year. His contract runs out at the end of this year. There's no way that you're keeping him. Sorry, who's the last one? Brown?
Yeah, Kynan Brown. He's been in
No,
and
these
out.
people if I stood up in my Wheaties.
Well, that's the thing, right? But these players have been performing again well at VFL level, and they just haven't gone that extra. And we need them to go that extra, right? So to take some pressure off the likes of Petrarca and Oliver and Viney. So we've actually got a bit more of a rotating midfield for us.
So, end of the year, do you think you guys will be involved in the trade market, or is it just get
Yes.
the kids in now?
Yeah, I think we'll be involved in some trade.
What would you want? A key forward or a midfielder?
Look, I think we need a midfielder.
Right.
To be honest, we also need a forward, right? I mean, you've got Fritz, you've got, Van Rooyen. Again, Van Rooyen really needs to step up a bit more.
Mate, you know I've checked out your contract situation. He's signed till 2029.
Yeah.
That's a lot of eggs in a pretty duddy basket.
Okay, let's change tact here.
No, I want to stick on this subject. I want to ask you.
Okay.
There's been a lot
I
of
feel like I'm
talk.
being nailed to the wall.
Yeah, sorry, mate. I'm on holidays. I haven't got much else to do. And so what I no, this one's not Melbourne. This one's the trade thing that I was bringing you around to.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of talk on the SNL websites, and really I should stay off them, but they're very entertaining.
Yeah.
And a lot of people want Harley Reid. It's interesting because I heard people talking about the what do they call it? Rising Star, right? And I don't really get how the rules work, but Nate Caddy's what do they call it? He's available. He can win it, right? And I thought, oh, should he win it, right? Because if I was taking anyone from the last two drafts, it would be Logan Morris or Caddy, right? So that puts to the side. After that, probably would be Levi Ashcroft, and I mean, a little bit of bias. I love Archie Roberts. There's a guy playing for Freo, Murphy Reid. He looks good too.
Yeah.
But Harley Reid was in last year's draft.
Yeah.
So was Archie Roberts. Now, people who aren't Essendon supporters are going, "Oh, you're out of your mind."
Yes.
Would I take Archie Roberts over Harley Reid? No, I would not.
No.
Because I think there's a chance that Harley could be, like I'm hearing commentators going, "Oh, he'll definitely be the best player in the comp at some point." And you're like, Sam Darcy just went, "Say what?" And a bunch of
What
and
about
Will
me?
Ashcroft. I mean,
Exactly.
will Harley Reid ever get in his entire career? Will there ever be a time when you go, he's better than Zach Butters?
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to work that at the moment.
I don't think so. And I mean, the
Why?
very fact he's too boom or bust to me. Everything's a great win of the ball and opened everything up,
Yeah.
or he gave away a free kick, started a fight, and lost the game for you. Like, it's all, I mean, that's a over dramatization, but it's all boom or bust. Whereas a guy like Archie Roberts, who just gets the ball, gives it to someone, doesn't stuff it up, I kind of,
Well, we're talking about Zach Butters. Really.
yeah, no, I mean, different category,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But that's my whole point. I think Zach Butters, if we got another pick for Sam Draper, and I don't want that, and we've got something like, with your picks 4, 5, and 6 in the draft, would I spend that on Butters? Because yesterday, Zach Merritt went back in the midfield and went, "Hi, do you remember me? One of the best midfielders in the game." And I was like, "Do you know what you need? Zach Butters.
Yeah.
Like one more of you."
Yeah.
And then I don't think there's any question whose midfield you're taking, ours or yours. To me, you add Butters to Merritt, Caldwell, and Durham. That's a whole different
What about
conversation.
Parrish? Is Parrish finished or what?
Giving Parrish 9 years, or whatever they gave him, was our Clayton Oliver,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, Oliver Muck.
It was. It was.
Right.
We were an average side. At his best, he's a very good clearance player. You just don't want him to kick the ball, right? So getting it out of the midfield, handing it to Zach, and then maybe getting involved, but probably I don't want you involved a little further down that chain. Yeah, so that's the contract we'll probably have to live with. I haven't looked at our contracts as closely as yours, but that's got a 2030 feel to it. So, I mean, there was a time when Geelong was sniffing, and I wish they'd have sniffed harder. I wish they'd have taken him.
Bear in mind, like Parrish actually won the Anzac Day medal. Was it last year? Did he win it last year or the year before? When he actually
Been a while.
It's been a while, isn't it? But I remember he won that, and he was at his top of his
I
powers
went to an
at
Anzac
that time.
Day game, and
Talking about all Australia. Even
He
talking
was
about
getting-
Brownlow medalist.
yeah, 1 year. 1 year. He had one. I don't know if anyone was talking about Brownlow. They weren't saying it to me. But 1 year they were talking All Australian, and that might have been the contract year. He might have done a cosy. But yesterday, without him in our midfield,
Yeah.
we looked better. So that got me thinking. I would take Butter. There's no way I'm giving 3 picks in the top 10 for Harley Reid. To me, that's just it's too big a gamble. And 5 years from now, if he is the best player in the league or even in the top 5, I could look like a complete wally for saying that. But I mean, they're going to want 2 million a year, something like that. And I just and the draft picks, and I just think at this point he's that far off being that guy. Everyone else sees it. I don't really see it.
It's very hard to prize any great players out of the Western Australia because it's not just about the football. It's actually about
The hot chicks they sent them up with.
I didn't say that. Dave.
Yeah, it's been
It's
known to
about
happen.
it's uprooting the whole culture and the family life and whatnot from WA, which is a
What are you
totally
talking about? He's a
different.
country boy from Victoria.
Yeah.
You think he doesn't want to be like, I mean, it'd still be a 4-hour drive away from the mates, but they can come down and watch him at the MCG, and then you go out to all the nightclubs that you've been going at your, I don't know, presumably boarding school, private school. But that's another one of my pet peeves. That's something Collingwood with the Dacos boys never have to worry about. Oh, hi, West Coast here. Nick, did you want, $20 million for 10 years? Let me just call Dad. Because my whole life has been Collingwood.
Yeah.
That's another luxury. Don't even get me started on the fact they probably got him with 3 picks in the 40s. But that's another thing where I just think, and we're letting it happen at Brisbane again. You're never going to get those Ashcroft boys away from Brisbane.
No, you never get the Dacos boys away from Collingwood. I only had a chance of getting Peter Dacos on the field. Serious.
They love it.
Oh, they love it. Oh,
They
they
do.
do. They've got a permanent camera on him all the time.
All
I
right.
think.
So obviously there's a 6-year age gap between Butters and Reid, and I think a lot of people put a lot of faith in that. And it's hard to look in the future and go, oh, this guy's going to be amazing and this guy's not. I think 6 years ago you probably knew Butters was going to be great, and they're all taken top 10, top 5 in the draft. It's not like you go, oh wow, who's this? Number 70 in the draft.
Well, Butters, he's been a great player, I agree, but God, he's come off a lot of injuries as well, right? So, but now he's actually fit and raring. He's really showing.
I've got him top 5 players in the league.
Wow.
Okay.
Top 5. Give it to me.
Nick Dacos.
Oh yeah.
And this is like if I was playing a game tomorrow and I want to win. Heaney. I was watching the game today. Heaney was the best player on the ground by so far. It was a joke. Bont at 3.
Bonapelli's unbelievable.
Sam Taylor at 4.
Sam Taylor.
Best fullback in the league by so far.
Okay.
Somebody's got to play fullback. I'll take
Top 5.
that guy. Who's the second best fullback in the league, or key defender in the league? Is it Harris Andrews?
Harris Andrews.
I'm taking Taylor so much far. If those two are lined up against the wall, and you and I just get to pick based on who's first, I'm grabbing Taylor so fast. I mean, he wouldn't move because he's built like a tree. And then Butters is my 5 and Darcy is my 6.
Yeah.
So I mean, we can talk about my top 20 list another time. I'll put maybe half an hour into it.
Yeah, no, look, I agree with Darcy. I agree with Dacos. I probably haven't seen enough of Sam Taylor to really, blow my mind, right?
If you're watching a GWS game and the opposition's about to get a goal, he's the one who stops it. He's the one who takes them up.
Okay. So where do you put Josh Dacos? Because he's having a freaking season as well, right?
Number, I went top 26. He wasn't in it.
I'd be putting him in 26 for sure. And also, and I noted in your 26, we can talk about it another time, but Zach Bailey as well.
Yeah.
Zach Bailey, you're missing him. And he is having
He's a gun.
He's an absolute gun. Kicked 5 last night, and they weren't just 5 from the goal square either, right? He was lining them up from 50.
I love your recency bias. Every week, new recency bias. No, love Bailey. The guy's done it in grand finals and huge games.
Yeah.
I've got a Brisbane forward in my list as a better player. than Bailey. Can you guess who it was? Talked about him last time.
Obviously not Logan Morris.
No. Although we did talk about him. No, I don't think he's there yet. But
Not Charlie Cameron. No, Rayner.
yeah. Would you take Rayner or Bailey?
Bailey.
Yeah.
I knew you were going to say
You
that.
take Bailey?
I'd take Bailey. I would take Bailey. I find that Bailey is very, very good. Like, not just kicking the ball, but running on. You just saw some incredible play last night. He actually handballed it to, into the centre. Then he kept running, received it, then kicked it off to one of the forwards, kept running, and actually took the mark in the forward line. So he actually had 3 plays, and he actually kicked the goal. And that was his 4th or 5th at that time.
So we were talking a minute ago about how the game's moved towards having 3. Only Geelong has 4 small forwards that I would call good.
Yeah.
Manor has joined close. Who's the guy who does all the chip kicks? Myers. And Stengel.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So they actually have 4.
Yeah.
Hawthorn with Moore, Watson, and I think it was Bruce last year. Everyone went, oh. Yeah.
Hello, Gunston. Well,
Sorry,
Gunston.
apologies to...
Apologies to Gunston.
No,
He's
no.
not really a small forward.
No, apologies to Ginnivan. Gunston's kicked 50 goals this year as a medium tall.
Yeah.
And that's I mean, hats
unbelievable.
off to the 3-year-old.
Yeah.
I'm guessing he could be older than that.
Yeah.
No one saw that coming.
He's pretty much in Australian form himself,
Okay.
right?
So we were just talking about Bailey and Rayner.
Yeah.
Throw Charlie Cameron in there.
Yeah.
Is that better than Bobby Hill, Elliott, and who's their third? Am I just throwing in Hoskin Elliott because they're never third? Do they have a third?
Absolutely.
Sorry, Will.
Sorry.
The belly laugh.
No.
They have a third. They're just there too, and they're pretty good. I'd take Brisbane's. How much would you love having just Rayner and Bailey in your forward line?
Yeah.
I mean, yours is Cozzy and Melksham, and I think Cozzy's carrying a bit of that weight. Although, Melksham has been very good. Mate, ours is Kako. So we're hoping we bulk that up with our academy picks. 2 of them are small forwards.
Yeah.
So it's like, all you're getting is small forwards. I'm like, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Small forwards and midfielders are kind of what we need right now.
I think you need a lot more.
Just briefly on Caddy Watch, not getting less excited. That guy looks good.
Yeah, I know.
And Kako looks good too. Midfielder and I was going to say another key forward, but I'm loving
Number 26 you're talking about?
My exact words were kick like a mule. When you take a mark outside 50 and you wave everyone off,
I'll take that.
That's a warning sign. He's got to kick like a mule. And he put one through from, maybe 55.
Yeah,
Yes,
I saw it. And it went into the crowd.
Don't mind that. Month ago, the guy's playing VFL, and last year he's playing for Brighton Grammar. So, a bit of work to do. That's where the development coaches need to come in. But,
certainly something.
The season for us is really nothing but hope. And are you hopeful?
What?
Melbourne.
Next year or this year?
Have you found? Are there things to be happy about? That's all our teams have now.
There's always things to be happy about, right?
What are you happy about?
Well, I'm happy that
apart from Cozzy.
Yeah, well, exactly. We've signed up Cozzy. I'm very happy
that
about
would have
that.
killed you.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm still happy that Petrarca's seems a lot happier at Melbourne as well. Okay, but in terms of the development of our players, I thought Windsor was sort of really starting to really pick up, but he's
not so much.
I want to see more from him.
Who's your most improved players? Is it Turner?
Turner's got to be up there
because you found the centre half back. Yeah, it's not every year you do that.
No, true.
What else have you found? Langford, obviously, but that's a top 10 draft pick. Is Lindsay?
Well, Lindsay's been okay.
There's top 10 draft picks in this top 10 draft. Mind you, I think he was more teens.
Yeah. Look, I think Lindsay's one of those that could could really show us a bit more, to be honest. But, Throlstrup, he only averages 7.5 disposals this season. Like, that's just not enough. 7.5 disposals.
I don't know anything about him.
I know.
Was he like a top draft pick, or did you get him from another club?
No, he's one of the top draft picks, but I'm expecting more than 7 possessions, right?
Maybe that's a little bit more homework that I'll do. I'll check out who have been your top draft picks.
Sharp, averaging 7 possessions in the season. I need to see 15 possessions, 16, because you're not doing a huge amount of damage with 7 possessions, in a match.
Fair enough.
Right? So, and again, it goes. We spoke about development coaches, but
I'm starting to see what you're talking about.
you can see.
But I mean, we've got the same problem as well.
Yeah.
Paddy, I think we're done, mate. I think we could wrap that up.
I think so.
Good chat.
Yeah, it's been a great chat, and for those who want to sort of get on board and subscribe
Did
to us.
anybody respond to your put something in the comments for us to talk
Got a
about?
few likes.
I didn't hear it coming up in pre-production. You care about the like. You're such a likes whore.
I know, I am.
Guys, thanks for joining us.
Thanks
See you next
a lot,
time.
guys. See you later. Bye.